Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. First, we want to introduce ourselves. My name is Anneke Ayu Putryku and my partner.
Annisa Intan Purnama.
Well, today we are going to explain about our and British culture, examining Bennett like Beckham. And next. What is diaspora? Safran defines 6 basic characteristics in his definition of diaspora. According to him, for something to be called as diaspora, there should be a dispersal from homeland to 2 or more foreign religions. Those people who are away from their homeland have a collective memory about their homeland. They have a belief that they will always be outrageous in their host state. They idolize their putative ancestral home, and there is a belief that all members of that society should be committed to the maintenance or restoration of the homeland and a strong ethnic group consciousness with a belief in a common faith. So basically, the term diaspora here is used to refer to the spread of the religious group or ethnic groups from their homeland, whether forced or voluntary. People who practice the diaspora are also characterized by their efforts to maintain their culture, religion, and their other habits in their new place. So that's the about diaspora. And next is about hybridity, and it will be explained by Intan.
Okay, I will explain about hybridity. So, what is hybridity? On the Judith and Martin Thomas K. Nakayama book, page 3031, migrants and their family often combine 3 different modes of relating to the host society, at times assimilating, other times integrating, and still other times separating, forming a culture hybridity relationship with the host culture. So hybridity refers to any mixing of East and Western culture within colonial and post-colonial literature. It most commonly refers to colonial subjects from Asia or Africa who have found a balance between Eastern and Western cultural attributes. To make it simple, hybridity is a thing made by combining 2 different elements, such as blending of diverse culture or tradition. Hybrid in particular shows the connections between the racial categories of the past and contemporary cultural discourse. It may be used in different ways, given different inflections and apparently discrete references, but always reiterates and reinforces the dynamic of the same conflictual economy, whose tension and division it reenacts its own antithetical structure. Okay, the next topic will be present by my partner. Keke, times is yours.
Okay, now I will explain about how is Indian diaspora in British society. Well, Indian diaspora in the UK began many decades ago. Since the 1950s, the Indians have come to the UK to contribute to the country's economic development and many other reasons. Today, almost 1.5 million people, that they make up one of the most prosperous and dynamic ethnic minority communities in the UK. The Indian diaspora has made valuable contributions in the areas of academia, literature, arts, medicine, science, sports, industry, business, and politics, amongst others. So first, I will discuss about the areas of academia and medicine. The UK most prestigious academic institution all count experts of Indian heritage among their highest ranking academic staff. One of the best known is Kumar Bhattacharya, Baran Bhattacharya, as a professor of manufacturing system at the University of Warwick and founded the Warwick Manufacturing Group. So the next is art and media. British Indian actors, broadcasters, comedians, and musicians are increasingly visible in the UK's media. Some of the best known include journalist Krishnan Guru Murthy and Naga Munchetty, comedian Nis Kumar, actor and broadcaster Sajif Bhaskar, and writer and actress Mira Shah. Next is politics. The Indian diaspora has been involved in politics for many years. The House of Commons currently boasts 15 members of Indian origin, and there are 23 peers of Indian origin in the House of Lords. One of the other big names of Indian origin in the UK political arena is Meghnad Desai and Bharat Desai. Next is cuisine. Indian cuisine has changed the UK's eating habits. One survey finds that an Indian takeaway is 3 times as popular as the UK's food, and 3 million Britons say they prepare an Indian inspired recipe at least once a week. For example, like chicken tikka masala, which is actually a British creation, consistently ranks high in polls of the UK's favorite meals. Next is sport. Cricket is one of the sport that connects India and the UK, right from the days of Ranjit Singh and Dulip Singh in the pre-independence era. The India-UK connection or relationship around cricket has been very strong and further strengthened until now. And the last is public service. There are 2 new commanders of the Order of the British Empire. Bharat Kumar Hasrat Shah for services to business, economic growth, and exporting in the independent pharmacy sector, as well as for philanthropic work. And Samir Shah as a chief executive and creative director of Juniper Television for services to television and to heritage. And I think that's about the Indian diaspora in the UK. So next topic that is Indian diaspora that have hybridity in the UK will be explained by my partner Intan.
Okay, next topic is about how does Indian diaspora have hybrid identity in the UK? Uh, from the previous explanation, hybridity refers to any mixing of East and Western culture. It can be biracial or multiracial people all around the post-colonial world. The context of Indian that take on influence from the West, how hybridity by in fact by Asian on Western culture. Actually, five major types of hybridity such as racial, linguistic, literary, cultural, and religious. But in this presentation, we will show you three Indian diaspora have hybrid identity in the UK. First, cultural hybridity. Cultural, defined in terms of art, music, fashion, cuisine, and so on, might be the broadest and perhaps also the easiest place to think about hybridity. Cultural hybridity is a given, something we might encounter without even giving a second thought. When we see an Indian influence design in a blouse on sale at the Gap, because the extremely widespread of cultural hybridity today. However, historically, cultural hybridity has not always been quite as easy, nor had its been controversial. A long time ago, when someone saw Indians who seemed to be a mix of East and West as absurd and mocked them. It is very difficult for an Indian of or African subjected to British rule to adopt manner or cultural value from British without in some sense suppressing his or her own way of being. But like what we see now, Indian is being able to become a diasporic country and has hybrid in the UK. Second, racial hybridity. The term hybridity derives from biology, where hybrids are defined as reflecting the merger of two genetic streams. So it might seem logical to talk about hybridity in terms of race. In the Indian context, for example, there is an established community for Eurasian who were marked as a separate community by the British after interracial marriage was banned, and who as a result held themselves as a clearly democratic community even after Indian independence, when most Eurasian left the country. Last is religious hybridity. Subcategory of hybridity is very important, in part because religion, specifically religious conversion, is such a widespread theme in colonial and the post-colonial literature. monastery outside Delhi readily accept the authority of the ministry book, and yet, despite the clear authority that they can only understand the Christianity they are being exposed to, through their own cultural filters. Perhaps instead of becoming simple Christians, the logical Hindus are simply adding the reference point of Jesus to a very crowded Hindu pantheon. The goal in invoking religious hybridity is not to force people to practice a local religion as pure, while those who may have converted might be seen as hybrid. In fact, religious traditions like Hinduism were heavily influenced by an encounter with British missionary under colonialism. Hindu leaders from societies such as the Brahma Samaj and Arya Samaj in the Sikh tradition, the Sikh Purnama movement, which instituted reform and in many ways aimed to react the Hindu tradition in a way that made it more legible and perhaps more acceptable to British missionary as well as Western scholar or religion. In short, by the beginning of the 20th century, the way Hinduism is practiced and interpreted by many Hindu themselves reflected a certain amount of religious hybridity. Okay, the next topic will be present by my partner. Keke, time is yours.
Okay, now I will explain about how do the characters in the Bandit like Beckham represent difference in cultural behavior due to cultural gap and generation gap. But first, I want to explain about the masculinity is. Well, masculinity is the extent to which the dominant values in a society are male-oriented. A masculine oriented culture can define as a society is called masculine when emotional gender roles are clearly distinct, that men are supposed to be assertive, tough, and focused on material success, whereas women are supposed to be more modest, tender, and concerned with the quality of life. So in the movie Bandit Like Beckham, the masculinity can be seen as the first is just friends are mostly boys. The second, just like plays soccer, that usually who plays soccer is a boy. And also, Jess doesn't like cooking. And the last is just Jess doesn't wear makeup or wear feminine clothes. And the next is individualism. While individualism is an individualistic culture that emphasize personal rights and responsibilities, privacy, voicing one's own opinion, freedom, innovation, and self-expression. So in movie Bend It Like Beckham, the individualism can be seen as at first that the Jess is tends to do things on her own, meaning that she is an independent person. And the next, Jess appreciates the uniqueness of each individual as the paramount value. And next. Next is the high uncertainty avoidance. Well, high uncertainty avoidance is a culture endeavor to reduce unpredictability and ambiguity through intolerance of deviant ideas and behaviors, emphasizing consensus, resisting change, and adhering to traditional social protocols. These cultures are often characterized by relatively high levels of anxiety and stress. So in movie Bandit Like Beckham, the individualism can be seen as the first that Jess' mother doesn't allow Jess to have any kind of love relationship other than with Indian people. So the mother prohibited Jess to have a relationship with Joe as a white person because if an Indian marries someone other than Indian, she will be isolated and her child's Jess' future will be unclear. And the next is Jess' father. Jess' father, who has participated in a cricket competition, didn't want his daughter to enter the world of sports because the bitter experience of her father that has been experienced as an Indian with a career in British sports. And the next will be explained by my partner, Intan.
Okay, Next is about low power distance. Low power distance is guided by laws, norm, and everything behaviors that makes power distinction as minimum as possible. Subordinate and superior consider each other are equal. So in the movie Bandit Like Beckham, the lower distance can be seen as first, Joe as coach and his student can mingle with each other. Second is Joe think that uh, he and his student consider each other as equal. Joe often interact with his student and try to look less powerful than he really are. So next is long-term orientation. Long-term orientation stands for the fostering of virtuous oriented toward future reward, in particular preserve and thrive. Its opposite pole, short-term orientation, stands for the fostering of virtuous and relates to the past and present in particular. Respect for tradition, preservation of faith, and fulfilling social obligation. So in the movie Bandit Like Beckham, long-term orientation can be seen first. Jessica's mother, who tends strict to maintain to maintain the Indian culture by teaching her children to cook Indian food, wearing modest clothes like Indians. The next is indulgence. Indulgence stands for a tendency to allow relatively free gratification of basic and natural human desire related to enjoying life and having fun. So in the movie Bandit Like Beckham, indulgence can be seen as first, even though Jules' mother was against her to entering the soccer club. In the end, Jules was still able to join the soccer club and enjoy her life without excessive restraint. Next is Jules' life doesn't always depend on norm. Next is restraint. Restraint reflects a conviction that such gratification needs to be curbed and regulated by strict social norm. Restricted society would feel they had less freedom to enjoy themselves, consider frugality to be important, and that social order and discipline were more important than individual freedom. So in the movie Bandit Like Beckham, restraint can be seen as first. Jaz's behavior was constrained by Indian norm, which were always upheld by her parents, which formed the suppression. Jazz could not enjoy her life because of her restriction. And the second is form disemphasized. Jess ended up doing everything she wanted by in secret due to restraint for her parents. Uh, okay, that's all for our presentation. I'm sorry if we made a lot of mistakes and the light is turned off. I'm sorry. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Uh, wait. I have to stop the recording, right? Stop the recording. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.